Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thanks for joining me. My name is Damian Phillips. You call me or you know me as DP, which happens to just be my initials. All right, that's my initials. Don't think it means nothing else. That's all it means. Damian Phillips. And I want to big up the first person that actually referred to me as such, Auntie Vesta. Yep, she was my pastor between 1996 and 2000 something, don't remember. when that was. But let me welcome you guys to Caribbean Radio HD. This is the home of the Brother Gary Morning Show. Every morning from 6 until 10. All of Sunday, me depend from 5 to 10, 5 to 10. That's why sometimes it's not good if you can't read, because you read and you read what you see and you're saying the wrong things. And yeah, that is not all the time it's good if you can't read. All right. So what are we looking at this evening? We are looking at the, let me see if I can copy it from here. So no, it not allow me. Yes, man, it must allow me to copy it from here. So are you in agreement, or do you agree with the ending of the SOEs? That is what we're looking at. And I don't want to make no changes to that. So let me say good evening and welcome. And I see two of my guests are here. So let me go ahead and add them to the show. I'm hoping others will join us as we go on. So I know some people, especially the Caribbean radio family, when I don't like to hear politics. Why? I don't know. Why I don't like hear politics? Politics is the heart of everything. See, even right now in Qatar, you know, some political statement are being made. And yeah, so why don't like politics? I love politics. So we're going to talk politics this evening. So I know people like Labor Done. Get with tonight. Labor Done tonight at the night when nobody can tell us, say, me know why you're in politics, sorry, too early or whatever it is. So just let me bring you up to date with what's happening. Hey, good evening, Alicia. Alicia is in the building. By the way, I mean, this a good evening to my guest. Good evening. Yeah, unmute your mic, Chris. Me have trouble with the name. I can't just call it Chris.
Call me Chris, man. Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Because that name, the Chris show, is just new. And anytime.
Good evening, Alicia.
Nidos, my brethren, what going?
Good evening, Medea.
Where's the low, brethren?
Hello?
It's a little better now. Yes, way better. You stop use the Yeti mic?
You know, say the Yeti mic. I'm looking at the Yeti mic right near. It's just off the camera, but because of the short notice, I couldn't.
You don't have to use
find the cables because the setup was all pulled apart. Because as you know, I've gone live in this setting for a long time. So yeah, but I use the good old Road podcaster.
All right, not a problem, sir. So let me big up those of you joining me on over Big Yard, Arlene and Juanita and the Flames. Big up yourself. Raban, my producer, ask you what are the tickets, how many tickets are giving away now? You're not answer. So no, I don't know if I bring that on. But let me people up to date with what is happening. And I'm going to read from the Gleaner. SOE extension blocked in Senate. And this was published Friday, November 25, 2022 at 5:04 p.m. Not that matter, but you know, I'll leave the Gleaner thing, the math make you know. The vote means that the state of public emergency will expire next week. And that's a file photo they have there. If you could have some screen, you'd see that. The government bids to secure an extension of the state of public emergency has been blocked in the Senate. It did not secure the votes needed to have the security measures, which were imposed in 7 parishes on Tuesday, November 15, go beyond the initial 14-day period. Senators voted along party lines. At least one opposition vote was needed for the measure to be extended. This means that the state of public emergency will expire next week, which is today. Headline that. Okay. On Tuesday, the government used this majority in the House of Representatives to approve the extension, which requires 2/3 majority. During the debate, leader of the government business, Kamina Johnson-Smith, argued that the state of public emergency have saved lives, citing a drop in murder in communities. Johnson-Smith charged that government has to act to preserve public safety and security and appeal to the opposition to extend the measure. But leader of the opposition business, Peter Bunting, rejected arguments that the state of public emergency worked. Bunting further contended that the circumstances do not exist to support the circumstances does not exist to support the extension. He argued that opposition members took an oath to uphold the rights of Jamaicans and the Constitution and take the responsibility seriously. Senators were facing mounting pressures from various groups in relation to how they should vote. Human rights lobby group Jamaica for Justice (JFJ) had urged senators to reject the request for an extension. The group argued that quote political expedience is no justification for constitutional breaches, adding that the reasons given by the government do not meet the constitutional threshold for a state of emergency to be declared. Early on Thursday, 15 private sector groups urged the parliamentary opposition to support the extension of the state of emergency until January 14. The group argued that the data demonstrated that SOE can help to save lives. All right, so okay, there's no more. I was just about to say, all right, I'm tired for read now. Not read no more. So, who else there? Akeem is here. Akeem, where have you done the bridging? Okay.
Yeah.
I said that A is must for Akeem. All right. So I was just about to say, NIDOS is, I think, the neutral party in the building. Krisha is a candidate, caretaker candidate. That's what I said.
Yes.
Right. And Akeem, I met Akeem on the battlefield. Akeem, I don't know if he is, but was a worker of the PNP. And
no, I ain't no worker there, man.
Imagine when we meet, you did a worker meaning you did a more. Remember, we met when was that? 2016?
2016 election.
Yes. And people, let me tell you, Caribbean radio, let me tell you. So I invited Akeem, and Akeem said, DP, you're not tired to hear my views on this. And I'm like, no, but I do radio, I do live things. So people over Caribbean radio don't know you. So yes, I'm going to hear things. And please, Akeem, don't say, as me did tell you before. No, you don't need to say. We're going to have a discussion. I don't know if you gentlemen know each other. Do you know each other? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. All right, so which division are you the caretaker for, Chris?
Waterford division in Southeast St. Catherine.
Waterford, and I guess your skin a scratcher. You're well on the the local government call, don't it?
Like from 2019.
I have a friend. He presents on Caribbean Radio HD Saturday morning to Colin Bell. I don't know if you know the name. He's the PMP caretaker for the fellowship division, and likewise, I think him can't wait, for the them call election. So let me ask you this before we jump into that. What you think about having a one ballot and just do general and local in one?
My question?
Yes.
Economical to save the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you would go for it?
Yeah, I think that's a good decision.
Yeah.
To make. Yeah.
I don't think we're ready for it though. Likewise the and this is what I realized, the trend. When a party is in opposition, they call for certain things, and when they form government, then you don't hear of it. Yes, Nidos, we're there. Like, for example, when you're in opposition, they keep on saying, so we need to have a fixed date. I remember Andrew always promising that, to say we're going to have a fixed election date. And then he's in his second term, and we not hear no budge out of that, but we hear the PMP saying, come on, we need to set up like America so we know that we vote. Because the reason why I said that is this election thing, like even local, I hear that both parties use it to test the water. So if them do local, so right now JLP is in power. So if they do the local government and lose the local government, then I'm like, all right, we need for all off and general. But if they do the local and win, vice versa, if PMP win the local, then they were like, yes, so no make a call it no cause already. That's just my views though.
The reason why you would come with that view is because Jamaicans, and I think we in Caribbean, really don't take local governance as serious as it should.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so you say, okay, local governance is not really so relevant. So let us use it to test the water.
Yes. You
understand me? Because if it was that relevant and that serious, then you wouldn't approach it that way as a tester.
True.
Right?
But I said, we're not ready for that yet, because there's a lot of...
You know why Jamaican...
other things.
I don't know. 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 I don't I lost out on the conversation. But the reason why Jamaicans don't take local government serious is because local government don't take themselves serious.
I can agree to that. I can agree to that.
Oh, yes, I was doing the
So
introduction. So let me introduce Nidos. So Nidos is the mutual one in the room. I don't know. Me and Nidos are friends from primary school, and I don't know Nidos affiliation. Sometimes I see him lick out some sound and then whatever. And then if him say something, me think not right, I call him. I say, Bridget, all right, let me tell you how this go, whatever. So Nidos is important to this topic that we're discussing tonight because he's representing most of my Caribbean HD listeners who they live in the diaspora, they live in America or Canada or whatever, and they don't really know what's going on. Like a while ago when I called Nidos and I said, Bridget, why you come join the show? And say, what's the topic? And me tell him, and I'm like, I really follow it up, and I'm like, no worry yourself. We talk similar stuff, so we'll be able to talk about this. So I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. So Akeem, I don't know if you're still a member or a supporter of the PNP, but the last time I checked, that's where we were. What's your point on last week where the senators decided to listen to JFJ and don't support the extension of the SOE?
So their point, from what I took from it, it was clear from day one that they weren't going to support it. And they said to their principled position. So I can't blame them for their principled position.
Mm-hmm.
I do not support the use of the state of emergency personally. Yeah, so I don't blame them for it. As I said, stand for something or fall for anything.
Okay.
So the mere fact that was their position and they stated it quite clearly, it goes, similar to the views I have. Some might differ slightly, but yeah,
All right, so we're going to dig in that a little bit. Chris, what's your take on the Senate actually did not vote to continue the SOE?
I think part of the problem is the whole structure of the SOE. I remember when it was introduced along with social programs. And I think that because there's no social programs to accompany it as it was originally designed, then there's the issue.
Why I get that thing that you're confluting SOE and Zozo though?
We're different.
Because the Zozo, that's the one I heard about with the all clear build, whatever else them they use. But the SOE,
both of them have the same concept, Both of them really have the same. It's really the same concept.
I never get the point about come with social. Me just think them they call it for weed out the bad apples.
Yeah, but at the same time, weeding out the bad out of the communities. If you don't put the social programs in place to build the communities, then you're going to always have bad in the communities.
Okay.
There has to be an alternative option, and so I think it lacks the alternative option. And I think that's where the opposition senators, lean towards in terms of their vote. They're not voting for it because we're using it, but we're not seeing it. We're not seeing where, certainly you see the difference in the crime rate. It reduces the crime rate. But then as soon as you relax the measures, the crime goes back. So is it a long-term plan? What is the long-term plan? What is the long-term goal? I personally would want to see GOJ introduce implement the social programs, which were never introduced in the first place with the Zozo.
I don't say I confuse me now in the bridging. Which one of them you want to use? Nidus? All right. So I'm gonna mute your mic till you figure out what we're going. Come here, nice over this and then see you. All right. So I understand what you're saying, but you sound like you're supporting. I was expecting those comments from Akeem. Akeem, what do you think about all that Chris just said a while ago?
Yeah, he's spot on with well, overall, even with the social programs, I just don't support holding people indefinitely, not giving them access to the courts, and stuff like that. I try not to let my privilege, speak from a place of privilege, because I know most likely I would not spend a night in jail under the SOE. Cause me not to think about persons that are not as fortunate, maybe as I am, to know somebody or to can present something to say, okay, I'm a good youth.
Okay.
So, but irrespective, if you're going in a community and you want to change the culture and stuff like that, you have to change how the environment is set up, and that come from social intervention. So I think personally, if you ain't going to remove the zinc fence, bring some form of training to the youths who for years have seen a specific setup, we'll keep having violence in these communities. We have been trying this for years upon years upon years, and we haven't seen any great amount of changes in these communities. So we have to change the strategy. This colonial way of policing, never worked then and it won't work now.
Okay. Nidos, your second now, sir?
Yeah, my second now. I actually sorry about that. I had to run out my house, so I am joining you from my car right now.
Okay.
But I'm second. So I hear both arguments. And I totally support both arguments.
All right. So I see a VH. I'm not sure who that is, but go ahead, Nidos.
I wanna bring Akeem attention to certain things. The whole implementation of a garrison in Jamaica was so that political parties can maintain their power.
Sound like you're covering up the mic though.
I cover my mic?
Yeah, you sound extremely low since you sit on.
All right, give me 2 seconds.
Should be.
All right, that's on way better.
May I just start, right?
Yes, man. Nice.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, man, very.
So, I was saying the implementation of a garrison was created by the political parties to ensure to ensure that
safeguarding of votes
have a secure seat. Political members have a secure seat. That practice is still happening in Jamaica as we speak. And in these garrisons, Jamaica has implemented a lot of social activities, but in these garrisons, it is non-existent. So when we say social activities, to me, that is just a sham by whichever political party. I was a part of the National Youth Council. I don't know if you know about that movement. I was one of the pioneers in that movement in Jamaica. National Youth Council was a group that the then ruling party, People's National Party, tried to create a system in which you would have one governing body that represents all youth organization. The first year it took off, it went well. The second year, the People's National Party turned it into a political arm. You understand what I'm saying? So the problem that is affecting Jamaica right now, and as Damien alluded earlier, I have not been paying attention to all these nonsense because all what's going on. Sorry, not saying nonsense. What's going on? Because I know it is politicized. We are GLP and PMP are not doing anything for the party for the country unless it's going to secure them a seat. Hence, that's why the People's National Party vote against the thing, because the more crime turn up, and the more talking point they have during an election year.
It's interesting you said that, Nidos, because I remember saying this to Colin Anthony. Again, let me mention, guys, he's on Caribbean Radio every Saturday morning. I asked him a question a couple months ago, maybe a year by now, somewhere in November, December last year. And I asked him, I said, Colin, tell me this. What would the PMP campaign on if Andrew Oles fix the economy and fix time tomorrow morning? And he couldn't answer me.
Let me answer that question.
Go ahead.
Let me answer that question. Nothing. I'm a Portlander. Love Portland. If you look at what the People's National Party has been reigning for most of our lifetime in Jamaica, if you look at what they have done in Portland, they have done absolutely nothing. Nothing. Right? Now,
Akeem,
I
I disagree with
remember
him.
I came out vocal against the now sitting MP for East Portland, because before election she was out in her numbers doing her thing, and when she won, I didn't see her doing anything. So I come out and I make a post, and then I retract my post because I had to apologize, because I realized that she was still working. She didn't just win the seat and just sit down just like everybody else. I remember Dr. Bloomfield, the late Dr. Bloomfield, me and him had a conversation. He said to me, Nidus, I lobbied on behalf of the parish of Portland, but the powers may be is not giving me what I need for this parish. And that was his ruling party. I went to Jamaica before that man died, and me and him talking. He was out on a domino tournament, and he said to me, my uncle is a big doctor in New York, and my uncle got me some medical equipment for the Port Anthony Hospital. And when they reached in Jamaica, the Ministry of Health took them away and put them in Kingston, and he get these for Port Anthony Hospital. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you is this: I don't take away the reason why I am neutral is because I vote on issues and not on party lines.
All right, hold on, Nidus. We have our first caller, so let me jump to the phone. Hello, the person hang up. So VH, you joining the live or what? I'm not sure. All right. So yes, Akeem. So Nidus just say him not see not what PMP do for all these years. Is he correct?
In East Portland, you know, it's very hard to see, you know, I share the same, you know, sentiments, re East Portland, just because I think, you know, it's been a neglected place for a very long time. You know, I won't call in the name. Somebody called me last night, messaged me late last night, and asked me what I think about them running for Eastern Portland, and I'm like, you know, something you said before. I said, you know, the only thing can determine that. I said it's a steep hill to climb, you know, because for a lot of persons in East Portland, the years spent, they weren't seeing anything, and you know, even though, you know, I might get information that certain lobbying has been done, nothing has come forth, you know, and you know, communication is key. So, you know, I see one particular MP, Lisa Hanna, do a lot of communication about things she's trying to get done. I've asked councillors and stuff, what are you doing? And they said, okay, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. But I said, all right, you tell me this now. I'm gonna know you personally. What happened to the persons that are not hearing these stuff? You know, why Lidart, Parkmount, where my business is, you know, I only see when
Sorry, Akeem. Let me find out if somebody just playing with me or this person want to call the show, because is this another number? Let me find.
We can't switch topic either day, we can't.
Yeah, me know we're gonna go back to that, but me just said I didn't want, if I would feel uncomfortable if I hear something that wasn't true. So we're going back to the SOE.
Oh no, it's in a far from.
Okay.
Far from the truth.
So let me just make sure this person not trying to call the radio station and not going through. So if I give them one more chance to answer, if they not answer no, then we're gonna just. Hello, good evening. Are you trying to call the radio station? Please leave your message. All right, never mind. Them no want to talk to it. All right, so finish up quickly before we move on. Akeem.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, we're not far from, even though a lot of lobbying has been done over the years, a lot of things haven't been done, you know, 1980 when, you know, them say certain people run and all of that. I wasn't around to validate some of that stuff. I still haven't gotten concrete information why certain shifting in certain things happen. So I don't really want to discuss that tonight without sufficient information.
All right, cool. All right, so let me ask because I don't know if Chris answered the question that I asked him. So my question was, what's your view with the Senate voting not voting to continue the SOE? You're in agreement with them? You disagree? You think they should have
I think it's an
extended?
irresponsible move by the Senate, by the opposition senator, to have
Mhm.
voted against the SOE, because at this point in time, we see that there's a spike in crime, and if the SOE is a tool in the toolbox that work, let us use it until we find another tool. I think the responsible thing would have to support the government to help to reduce crime, to save lives in Jamaica, and at the same time call on the government to come with an alternative strategy, right? But don't
Mhm.
just throw the tool through the door. Don't just throw the tool through the door, and we do have an alternative wrench or spanner or something else to use. What do we use at this point in time?
That's the point that I really don't get, and I don't know if Akeem or somebody can explain to me, because I keep on hearing even Shaka Fame, Colin, now stop calling him. Somebody tell him, so me I call up his name, make him come join me. Saying that it's not the only tool in the box, and it is using incorrectly, and all of these things. And I'm like, I am sure if I go to the hospital for whatever reason, I'm feeling pain, I'm not going to look at a medical practitioner and say, you don't need to give me an injection, or don't give me no whatever the pill where everybody afraid of. Don't do that. You have other things that you. Why is it, Akeem, that the PMP keep on saying it is not the only tool in the toolbox?
Because other legislations are there to do certain stuff. The only thing that they get powers with the SOE is to detain person without access to the courts.
So and again, let me repeat my question. So why they're saying it's not the only, don't use it because it's not the only. Why they have a problem with it being used? Why they don't see it where Chris just a while ago? Right now, and every time that I see it call, it's from advice from the police, from the JDF saying this shooting is up, murder is up. We need to impose the SOE so we can do some
And
work.
corporate Jamaica support it. Now look at this. You have a spanner, you have a monkey wrench, and you try with the spanner, it not holding the thing properly. You go for the monkey wrench, it's too big. And you get the vice grip
Mm-hmm.
and you hold it and
And
it
it will,
works.
yes,
Why
even if
not
it's
use the vice grip?
temporary, but it still work.
Yeah, why not use it? So I really think that the vote against the SOE is straight politics. They know that when the crime rate goes up at the end of this year, if it goes above 1,500, ended up with the highest crime rate for the last 10 years, PMP will have something to campaign on. But look, really, what is it that PMP will be campaigning on?
The
They will
loss
be
of life.
campaigning on the loss of people's lives
Yes,
that they supported.
yes.
That's really what they're
If
campaigning on,
if it was merely the politics of it,
So
wouldn't the
and
most
you
political
can't
expedient
politicize everything,
hold on. Wouldn't the most political expedient thing, seeing that they lost the last election badly after voting down the SOE, right? That person would say that said that they paid a dear price for that. Wouldn't the most political expedient thing to do is vote for the SOE?
Look, all right, look at this. There is another piece of legislation passed in 2019 that
Which one?
the then let me look for it. The then opposition spokesman, Peter Bunting, opposed, and it is the same piece of legislation that the now opposition leader is proposing that the government reintroduce.
So apparently, so hold on. So apparently that went before CMOC, right? Um, Based on my understanding, that went before CMOC, and it wasn't. And even though it was a proposal, it was a discussion at the CMOC table. The difference with this now is that you would have to get an order before. It's just like a search warrant. You have to get a, but this one you'll get a uh, order from the Supreme Court to allow you to present your case before this, that this person is a threat, this person is whatever, and go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would would look at what is before you, what is before them, and say, okay, granted, you can hold this person, and then it would have to be reviewed periodically. Maybe I'm not sure if I heard something like a lay magistrate or something. Some judge. We'll go to some judge
Mm-hmm.
to be assessed.
Or extend it
While
or whatever.
what or for extension. What happened before, what was proposed before was that a police officer would just say, this person is a problem, this person is a threat,
Right.
remove them off the road, and then to extend it, go before, I guess, a JP
Yeah, the tribunal. That was the argument.
right, to get them. And they're saying, no, you have to balance and allow for checks and balances, proper checks and balances in the society. And the legislation, the legislative arm of the government is that balance between the political powers. Because, as you know, the executive, you have three branches: the executive, legislative, and the legislative.
The judicial.
Right? The judicial.
It's a legislative.
So you have to have a balance between that, because it's the same set of people will make up the legislative, the majority in the legislative arm make up the executive. So something have to provide
We understand that
balance.
I want Naidos a question, but let me read Keisha. And guys, you can go over to Big Yard, and where I call Big Yard, it's the official chat room for Caribbean Radio HD, and just type in BROGARY, Bro Gary Show, and it will take you there. You can comment if you don't want to call, and if you don't want people to hear your voice. After I ask Naidos this, I'm going to give out the phone number. You can call and ask your question. Carisha said, from I was living in Jamaica, I heard the PNP and the JLP parties want to fix crime. I'll know it not fixed yet. Naidos SOE. If you were going to Jamaica, if you had planned to go to Jamaica for December and you heard that shooting up in Montego Bay, Westmoreland, Clarendon, that's just three. There's 4 other parishes that the SOE were called in. Which would you feel more comfortable going to? The SOE being called, or know that they're not extending the SOE?
Most definitely I'll feel more comfortable if it is called and the SOE is in place. But what Akeem was just explaining, I understand it. Yes, and me had this conversation before. Yes, we want to fight crime. I am 100% for fighting crime. But even though we are fighting crime, we need to take into consideration the constitution of the country and the rights of the citizens. We know that corruption is rampant everywhere, and Jamaica land we love, it is stink. And you have to give a police officer, as what Akeem was just explaining, and I don't know, I'm just repeating what Akeem said. To give a police officer the sole power to say, Naidos is a bad person, Naidos is a threat, we need to take Naidos off the road. Without any checks and balance, it's a very dangerous tool.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
So, yes, we need to fight the crime, but we also need to bear in mind that we have to take the citizens.
Let me ask you this, Naidos, before I bring in Chris, because I have a question to ask him. Read what you just said. When I was 16, I did the police test to become a police cadet. Because a lot of people don't know this. Bailey, who used to go Compre, his father, Marksman Bailey, Inspector Bailey, he told me about the police. They have you can go in at 16, they train you for 2 years, 18, and then you come out. You get pay and everything, right? But the night I did the test, me dream Haile Selassie. Although I did feel because I couldn't spell at the time. But I'm saying that to say, I wouldn't be a good police. You know why? Because I believe in extrajudicial killing. I don't believe that a murderer or a rapist is supposed to be wreaking havoc in a community. People can't sleep, people can't whatever. And then you can't hold him for nothing because I'm having big liar where him can call. So I am saying, Naidos, do you have a problem if, because every police is supposed to know who them are lock up or who them are, would you have a problem with somebody who is actually a violence producer? Rights are being taken away for the Christmas period so other people can't even live. Because I am of the opinion that is not no. I disagree with the net fishing, and me and Akeem talk about this. Like if I did spearing, then that's different. I have a problem, and even the brother will get $1 million the other day because he was arrested for 1 year and something. Are detained, may have a problem with that. But I'm saying, Naidos, what if, which we have seen it, whenever them detain how many amount of people from Montego Bay, you hear the shooting subside, it go down, murder go down. So what if it's really the bad man, let me use the term loosely, the bad man them then really attack where them rights from? You still have a problem with that?
All right, I'm gonna answer you in two folds. I'm gonna say no. But if you are detaining someone based on creditable intelligence, then you should have information to charge the person, not detain the person. Because to me, that's just kicking the can down the road.
I agree. But Chris, you're quiet and more hear you talk. I mean, know you can talk.
Listen.
Let me finish my next
hold on, guys. I mean, know all we talk long-winded, but I 1 hour the show last for.
Right, so let me finish my next point. I was in Jamaica, and a police pulled me over, and I sat in my car with my seatbelt on, and he said, "Hey boy, come out of the car with you. Carry your license and registration, come give me." And I sat in the car. No, he said, "Driver, can I have a license and registration?" I sat in my car, and he said it to me. Then I didn't come out. He said, "Hey boy," and start me up. Sat in my car. He came to my door very angry and called me boy, kind of something. And when he saw my driver's license, his entire approach was different. So what we are doing, we are opening the Jamaican citizen. Yes, some of them need it, but some of them are law-abiding citizens and they are get caught up in the net.
Okay. All right, Chris. So this is the argument that I hear put forward. Akeem alluded to it earlier. And Nidos was mentioning that too. So the whole thing of taking away somebody's rights, and I always hear the PNP stress on the innocent poor youths. Even Miss Morris, Senator Morris, I hear putting it out, and I'm like, part of me just uncomfortable because maybe it's because, as Nidos say, I don't think I would spend a night in jail. So even if I fly down right now, even if I get detained, I really don't believe that I would spend a night in jail. Is it unfair that we're using the Constitution, and this question is for Chris, maybe Akeem can jump into, using the Constitution to protect crime violence producers instead of protecting citizens?
But that is the whole purpose of the SOEs, to protect law-abiding citizens. It's to rid the community of violence producers, to protect you and I and other people who are law-abiding citizens. Right? There is in the legislation that a police constable can detain a person for, I think it's 48 to 72 hours on the grounds of suspicion, the mere ground of suspicion, right? Say that you're about to commit a crime or you have committed a crime, right? Pending investigation. Right. So there's that part of legislation that is also there that they can use. However, perhaps the period of detention is too short, which is why we now have the SOE. Right. But again, what do we put in place to protect law-abiding citizens? Like,
can I say something real quick?
Yes, Nara.
The best police commissioner I've seen Jamaica have was Trevor Macmillan. Soldiers used to beat the police left, right, and center. What kick out Trevor Macmillan?
Politics.
The People's National Party. You understand what I'm saying? So when we are talking about the police, this crime thing start from politicians not doing their job. The police are just mere pawn in this big game.
But when you say politician not doing a job, specifically what?
I have a sister that was a police officer in a certain part in Jamaica, and me and her were talking, and she told me that she stopped a bike, somebody riding a bike several years back, and when she said she was going to detain the bike, she get a call from the officer in charge of the parish and told her let go of the bike. She said no, she's not letting go of the bike because there's no papers on the bike. And so she brought the bike to the station, and by the time the bike reached the station, the bike gone back on the road because the officer in charge of the parish, I think it's what, superintendent, DSP, let go of the bike.
Let's listen to this audio from the Commissioner of Police.
Live it. Say they don't want it.
All right, let's go.
Feature of a state of emergency. I've not been anywhere where the people who live it say they don't want it. The only people I've heard say they don't want it are those people who do not live it. And so when you get these actual things where the person himself, and he's a self-confessed person involved. He didn't go to the extent to say I'm a gunman, but from what he said, it was clear. But he and his rivals and friends he wanted detained so that they could get that time to just cool off. Because as long as the shooting is going on, they will continue.
All right, so that's a small clip that I cut from the thing. So let me just try to...
the commissioner is correct.
But let me put it in perspective. He was sharing that it was in one of the communities that the SOE was called. And he said that a man come up to him and he was short of saying, I am a gunman. And said to him, listen, we want the SOE because guess what? These men that are fighting, we killing each other, whatever, we grew up together. Like how me know you and I we got the same school. We used to thought I same part, whatever. So yes, take we in, make we cool off and have a little break period. Because as long as we're outside, we are going to be shooting at each other. We will be killing each other. Which being my point. I don't get it, Akeem, why the PMP keep on saying, and people who are living in a gated community have them saying on the SOE.
In 2019, I remember when they're about to lift the zone of special operation, which was one of the 2 zones established in St. Catherine. And the residents in my area begged me to call on the minister to keep the zone of special operation inside of Waterford. Because those are the people that had it, they didn't feel like they were detained, They felt free, they felt liberated, they felt protected.
Right.
Doing that special operation. And they begged me to ask the minister to keep it there because they feel protected. This is the same thing that the Commissioner of Police is saying. The people that live in the area that these zones are established, right, want it there. It's people like you and I that don't live in the area kind of look against it and say, oh, look how we are, and it's sound away and whatever, right? So is that correct? I know that for a fact. I live it.
But that's why you always find the persons who are not living in a situation always as the most vocal for or against.
But exactly, because
these senators and oppositions, they all have CPOs, they all have security officers, they all live in gated communities, they all are protected, right? So they don't need it, Them can't come anything and the court against it. They don't need it.
Go ahead, Akeem. Go ahead, Akeem.
Chris, you are very unlikely to spend a night in jail. I've heard somebody been to Hunts Bay lockup, regular man. And he told us, we're at a garage, and he told us, if he's to go back to Hunts Bay lockup, he's sure to kill himself before he goes. Now, I saw a tweet from this guy on Twitter stating, why he thinks it should be. And he went and they saw his accolades and all of that stuff. So there was no intelligence why a police officer would lock him up. They just said, tell his mother to wake him up, send him in the Jeep. Mm-hmm. Now he supports the SOE, but he said they saw his accolades that he was a bright student and allowed him to walk and allowed him to stay and go to school. Now, I always say, you hear both sides of the story, because will Keith Duncan's son spend a week, 2 weeks down at Hunts Bay or any of those lockup? Will I spend 2 weeks down there? No. But what about a youth that, I don't know what people say will look like, because black people
look like one criminal. Just say, you can't say it.
But I wonder, me still try to process what the criteria for fit.
And
when somebody look like a criminal.
I am not refuting what you're saying, right? Proper screening process need to be implemented so that the innocent people don't end up in the prison system.
But that's why the SOE don't facilitate. The SOE don't facilitate as proper screening process. And if
you and I want a better Jamaica now. You and I want a crime-free Jamaica. But you and I also don't want innocent youth to end up in the system.
So, Akeem, are you saying that it's just a quick fix?
It's not even a fix, because you're going harden people when have no business, not crime. You're going to prison. You're going to prison place to harden enough people.
But Akeem, I asked Colin this. I'm sorry, guys. We're soon come to the end of the show. So like I'm chopping. Yeah, my friend, you're late. I asked Colin this just last Saturday morning. Tell me which criminal, which murderer want to go to jail. So if somebody's out there killing people and him get arrested or detained, we're hardening him even more.
But which innocent man want to go jail there, man? Which innocent?
That is what Colin asked me. If I would want to go to jail without no reason. And this is the argument that PMP is putting forward, which I disagree with. Because guess what? Based on the law, you're not supposed to call somebody a criminal unless them go in front of the court, adjudicated, and then get sentenced, right? But that don't mean a murderer is not a murderer. It's just that him not get tried yet and found guilty. So what is it that we're supposed to do? And I'm still going back because Damian Crawford, which chatting in foolishness now about his World Cup, why the killing low and thing, and I'm like,
yeah, Damian, don't say that. Don't say it's foolishness.
It is foolishness.
In 98 when
we got to World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah, but
you could walk when Jamaica was playing a match over stadium. You could walk through any volatile community, and you're good.
What Damien said last week is that last week of the SOE, the only reason why shooting and murder the down is because of the World Cup.
So what I'm saying, you are saying
that is just a wide assumption. It's a general assumption.
There is no scientific data supporting that. Last week, last week, the only reason why the shooting and murder was down is because of World Cup. Yes, Akeem.
A quantitative analysis will show numbers in sequence over a period in time. And he showed, I'm not saying I'm for or against what he said. I just said it can be assumed. It can be assumed. No, if you have a period in time, and every 4 years when there's a World Cup, you can see a particular trend. It's only right to assume.
And I'm saying it's an assumption.
But we're dealing with
the reason, and it's always
we're dealing with specific. The only way I could say that is if we could go back in time and see what the two results would be.
DP, he's showing that murders before, like say for instance, the World Cup is normally summer, so July, June murders were up, World Cup July down, back uptick after that.
Akeem,
that's how
you're missing my point.
Is good at punchlines, right?
Yeah, it's not a matter about punchlines. From a sequencing perspective.
So I was asking you this, Akeem. I was asking you this. So we were worried about the innocent boys, because if them get detained wrongfully, which me think whether you get detained wrongfully, yes or no, and the circumstances is not good, then it's a problem. But why is it I don't hear the PMP worrying about my 89-year-old grandmother who live in a volatile community where every night she hear and can't sleep? Why I don't hear the PMP talking about an 8-year-old who have sense for no say, listen, when SOE is imposed in my community, me feel comfortable. My mother not have to grab me under the bed when gunshots start fire.
So
why I don't hear those arguments?
So you believe not the good suffering for the bad situation?
Yes.
Dear man, stop using privilege, and it's very, I can tell you, to
it's
be
not
honest,
using privilege. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you Shaka Fiem say. Hold on, Akeem. Give me 1 second. 1 second, make you finish. This is something I tell Shaka Fiem over and over and over. Him keep on saying, DP, you can't fly in Jamaica right now and get detained in the SOE and all of that. And I said to him, which me tell anyone, the three of you right now, I would prefer any one of you, as bad as the jails or detention seems, I would prefer any one of you get detained than hear someone go in one community and get murdered. Because even back with the Constitution, PMP talking about the Constitution, when you're dead and gone, all the Constitution protect you.
So you think, that kind of a right-wing argument from a realist like DP mental the truth, because you have to have something to safeguard rights of people. Rights are important. And you don't value rights until you lose them. Because you have yours. Hold
on. Akeem, you believe in absolute rights? You believe in, and Colin is here, people. Shaka Fiem there. You believe in absolute rights? That there's such a thing as absolute right?
I believe in mine. I believe that I should have mine. I believe in my liberty. I believe in all of my rights.
What right gunman and murderer are supposed to have?
right to a fair
Alright.
trial.
Okay, cool.
I
Right,
believe,
so
I
Colin
believe
there,
that they should be-
Colin
they
there.
should-
So I don't know if Brother Gary want to give me an extra hour, because Colin just joined. But if not, we're going to continue else place. So Brother Gary, do the magic. I know you can. Welcome, Councillor Caretaker Colin Bell for the Fellowship Division. Also on the panel, Colin, is Krista Holmes, is the caretaker for Waterford, you say? JLP. Nidos is my brethren from Port Antonio, was a firefighter, and Akeem is here. So yes, Colin, welcome to the show.
Let me just thank you very much and good evening to all the guests and to all the viewers. Well, let me just say something to you, DP. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Right.
And that is why the most honorable PJ Patterson changed the oath of allegiance, because back in the 90s, even in the 80s, the members of parliament used to swear to defend the Queen, her heirs and successors. PJ changed it to defend the Constitution and the people of Jamaica. Now, if a government that swears to defend the Constitution tramples on the very same Constitution that they swear to uphold and defend, that by itself is hypocrisy. And therefore, what you have, Dr. Iman Black normally tells us, the lawmakers
Are the lawbreakers.
lawbreakers. And you can't have that. And that is why crime is so high in Jamaica, because the present administration has lost all moral authority to deal with crime. When you have a man died in the house of the, I hear somebody talk about a police with a bike. When you have a man died in the house of the Prime Minister's lawyer, and to date, he hasn't even gone to jail. Well, not even jail. He hasn't even gone for questioning at the police station when the police said that there was no forced entry. Then you can understand, my brother.
Go ahead, Colin.
Then you
Colin,
can.
are you saying that the government, that the JLP government must lobby to lock up the lawyer? That's what you're saying? You have a judicial system.
It's not the GLP government must lobby to lock up the lawyer. The police must lock up the lawyer. But why the police can't lock up the lawyer?
You're lying in the argument, blaming the government, right? To say that they have lost all moral authority, all moral rights.
Yes, they have.
That's where your line of argument has gone. So it has gone on a tangent.
The government has lost 4 constitutional cases.
And not necessarily looking at the police and policing. I think the issue is police and policing there.
But let me say something to you, my brother. The poll that was done the other day, that says 93% of Jamaicans have no confidence in the police force. Another 92 have no confidence in the Minister of Security. And another 90 have no confidence in the Commissioner of Police. Let me just explain something to you. I have full confidence in the police force, but I have no confidence in the leadership of the police force. Security forces are leadership driven. The leaders set the standard or set the mark.
What's the point of referring the survey, Colin?
Huh?
What's the point of mentioning the survey?
That just to say that I have confidence in the police.
Because I'm saying the same people said that they want the SOE and they support having the SOE.
And the poll says 53% support the SOE, not 90 odd.
It doesn't matter.
The people of Jamaica actually SOE, and the opposition center vote against the SOE. The opposition, the senator that was not elected.
No, but remember what I just said a while ago. With 93%.
Hold on, one at a time. Go ahead. Let's call in finish and then
SOE, representing 44 constituencies. And the opposition senators who are not elected. Who are not
why just said a while ago?
All of you talk, no, we're not going to hear each other.
Leave him moderate.
Yes, so Chris, finish your point and then Colin, you can respond to it.
Colin, something is fundamentally wrong. Something is fundamentally wrong when your opposition centers who were appointed voted against the SO. 53% of people in Jamaica support that 44 member of parliament who have been elected by 44 constituencies out of the 63 constituencies voted for, and the opposition senators use their privilege and vote against a majority
with 20% voter turnout.
Majority.
All right.
With 20%. No.
Let me respond to that. As I said a while ago, 93% of the people said that they have no confidence in the police force. I just said to you, I have 100% confidence in the
SOE.
Hold on, man.
53%.
Hold on, Chris. Hold on. Chris, hold on.
There's context.
Let Colin explain.
There's context. So I'm saying to you, even though 93% of Jamaicans say them have no confidence in the police, I am telling you that I have 100% confidence in the police force. However, the majority is not always right. And then each senator, even though appointed, must be independent. Yeah? And that is why.
So JFJ telling the senators them that they're supposed to not vote to extend it.
Yeah, but private sector tell them that they must vote to extend it. So everybody have an opinion and everybody can share their opinion. But what I'm saying to you, that the senators must vote their conscience. And if you see that something is wrong with the legislation,
hold on, brother.
You're a foul of the Constitution.
Neither want to talk, Colin.
Huh?
Neither want to talk.
I agree with you, Shaka Fame. But when you say senators should vote to their conscience, that's not what happened. It was a vote among party lines.
That's your opinion.
Which I'm all the time.
Hold on.
That is what happened, Colin. Every GLP appointed voted the GLP line and the PMP voted the PMP line. The last time.
And what we can say about that is our opinion that they voted along party line.
People who are appointed to vote. The vote must be done by elected people. The people elect them to lead. They are the ones that's supposed to have the vote, not appointed.
Hello, can I say something?
No.
It was my time to talk. Can I say what I'm saying?
We soon go back to that. Akeem, sorry. Naidos, go ahead.
It was a vote among party lines. I understand you're a politician, both of you guys are politicians, and you're going to talk to suit certain things. But it was the facts, it was a vote along party lines. Hear me, I say, in this. When it supports either the JLP or the PMP, they vote. They act accordingly. Look at the bus carrying the JLP supporters to their convention. People were sitting on top of the bus. The law is in Jamaica, the traffic light, you push your hand outside, they can find, they can charge you for body protruding. But nothing was done about it. And guess what? When a PMP time, the same thing will happen.
Right.
Because they know they don't answer to somebody else.
Go ahead, Colin. Go ahead.
I don't want to mislead people who are watching.
Hold on, Colin, though. Brother Cliff say, good night, Brother DP. Greetings to you and all my family members. Brother DP, please remember that Brother Colin is running as counselor. Also, Chris. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah. What we must not forget, not because the members of parliament votes yes, that means the senators should vote yes. The senators
shouldn't be a
are sitting in the upper house, and there's a reason. There's a reason why the Constitution asks for a 2/3 majority, and there's a reason why the government nominates 13 senators and the opposition nominates 8. Edward Siaga, in his wisdom, never wanted one side to be able to determine a state of emergency anymore. It happened before, and in his wisdom, he fought for this, that the Senate must also give a 2/3 vote. So there's no reason when my brother is saying that the 44 voted yes and they were elected by the people, so the rest of them vote yes.
We respect
the people.
Founders of our country. Yes, we respect founders of our country, but the senators are not accountable to the people. The member of parliament were put there to represent their people, right? To give the views for their people.
To do what?
The people. So they voted, the 44 of them voted for the SOE.
And that's their right.
Fundamentally, something is wrong that you give people who are not accountable to the people to vote on an issue like this.
Well, I'm suggesting that your party threw away the Constitution.
It's not true.
Because if you don't want to abide by the Constitution, throw it away.
Oh, Colin, hold on. And let's clarify this, because I don't remember which lawyer, but I think I heard 2 radio stations bringing it yesterday. And I challenge some people about this too. I keep on hearing PMP saying the court ruled that the SOE is unconstitutional.
Yes, one
aspect.
It is aspect, but when PMP say that this is why
the use of the state of emergency in the way that it was used was unconstitutional. That was one of the court ruling.
And that was for the 5 years. That was for the 5 years that PMP was supporting the same thing.
And I'm glad you said that, because I want my friend to remember that 2018, 2019, the PNP supported the states of emergency.
Right.
To extend it.
Isn't that hypocritical then?
At the time, what the PNP was saying, that the government seems that they have no other option.
Mm-hmm.
Crime is bad. So here what? Give them a chance, let them do what they want to do. But you cannot allow a wrong to continue.
So what would be wrong, Colin? Let me ask you this.
Before you ask the question, can I ask one?
Go ahead.
So my question is this. You cannot allow a wrong to continue, but would you prefer during this period that the crime rate actually spike or continue the upward trend? Because apparently the SOE is not the right way to go about it. It's a tool, but probably in the PNP eyes is it has holes in it. So you prefer to shelf it and let crime rise?
Let me say something to you, and DP know this. I support the state of emergency, but not the way that the GLP is using it. I support a state of emergency for a short period of time in specific areas. The Jamaica Constabulary Force does not have the capacity to...
It is specific areas.
No, hold on, hear me I say. The Jamaica Constabulary Force does not have the capacity to have a state of emergency as a crime fighting tool in 7 parishes. It's not possible. It don't make no sense. If you are going to use a state of emergency, you have information that there are guns in Montego Bay, they are countrymen, you call a state of emergency just in Montego Bay, because I believe that in a state of emergency, you must have more police and soldiers than citizens. So it's a shock on how you go in, get the evidence, and get out.
All right. So I have a follow-up question. So when you advertise that now, and those persons who know that they may be targeted, jump and go up one place at Portland where we have murder. Let me finish my question, please, sir. When you advertise it, and me know say, oh, me have me 6 pants over here, and them are come target me. So me I jump on one bus, and me I go to Portland where record 8 murders is high. What are we doing there? Because you put all the resources one place.
Let me explain something to you. The SOE should be called based on intelligence.
The SOE was called based on intelligence.
Hold on, DP.
The Prime Minister read from his advice from the security forces.
The Prime Minister is a jumbo man. The Prime Minister have information that gangsters are sell land over Clifton, and instead of you send somebody undercover go buy land, you go bulldoze people house. Don't tell me about Prime Minister. This Prime Minister has been failing for the last 7 years, brother.
Colin, you are politicizing the issue.
Politicize? The Prime Minister said if you vote for PNP, you're going to end up dead. Vote for the GLP, you sleep with your window and your door open. Wasn't that politicizing crime?
You're politicizing the issue.
Brother, when your Prime Minister said, when your Prime Minister was asked to deal with crime with the opposition at the time, he said he had to show the political side.
Hold on. Beg a minute. So, Chris is trying to say this, Colin. Now let me ask you, what is your thought on the calling of the SOE every single time? You think is lie the Prime Minister telling that the police and the JDF actually advise him to call it?
I said this to you a long time ago, DP, that if you leave it to the police and the soldiers, they would not want to have a SOE every day.
Because that's easier.
They said that to you a long time, don't
Yes, you have. Mm-hmm.
So what I said to you is that when you have information, you call the state of emergency in that area. And you don't call it before you lock it down. You lock it down and then you call it, brother. Yeah.
But by law,
I support that. I support that.
But wait, me want to know, because by law, you know,
let me say no.
advertise curfew
No,
and
what me I
state
say?
emergency.
You circle the area because there's nothing to stop police and soldier from
Okay,
going
so
to
you
any
just set up your perimeters. I'm with you with that.
Exactly. Then you call it.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let me understand. Let me read a couple of Sata's comments, and I don't know if you guys remember Sata Oakley, big Portlander, big PMP. Sata say PNP is better, and that's that. She went on to say all when the country are born turn over, sorry, Damien, I go say PMP. She went on to say, but the state of emergency.
Something wrong with that statement.
Well, on, man. But the state of but the state of Sata say democracy. Chris, democracy.
What's wrong with that statement?
Sata say, but the state of emergency not helping crime going in the midst of the emergency. Plus, how can we solve crime when the real aim is not to decrease crime? The government now is benefiting from crime, and Damien not addressing that, you know. All right. So Akeem, you sit down there long. Akeem, want to hear from you. Can me know you? You believe in that the humblest scarf thing. More hear your view and all our everybody saw a while ago.
You know, I think we've spoken. Well, your viewers wouldn't know, but I've always been against the SOE. I've never been one to support its use. I blame the PNP for when them did have it and say, oh, the government blanked the ideas, And that's why now they're in the position that they're in. They didn't take a principal position, then now they try to take one afterwards. They kind of say, oh, hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I, for one, this is all I'll say. I have to run, I have a flight to catch. Mm-hmm. But I have my rights, and I don't believe in good suffering the bad. The police must act on intelligence, and the Constitution was there to safeguard citizens' rights, citizens like me, citizens like you. And without this, we're going down a very slippery slope. If we become a military state next in a few weeks, a few months, a few years, what you're going to say? These are the things that will start. That's how these things start. You start stripping people rights. You start say, "Oh, the Constitution don't make no sense." Sooner or later, we become a military state. Nobody have the rights. Anybody
will you answer my question before you go catch a flight?
We'll go back to 1919. When then they lock up everybody.
Will you answer my question?
This you have sense. Listen.
Will you answer my question before you run go catch a flight?
You have a next question?
No, I asked you earlier. Mr. What about my 94-year-old grandmother with ear gunshot every night and can't sleep, and her blood pressure go up?
So what we're going to do? Lock up 10 youth when I have nothing to do with.
But why you keep on saying no have nothing to do with it? Oh, you know they don't have anything to do
with
it.
But Damien, hold on, Akeem, let me answer Damien's question. Akeem, let me answer Damien's question. So Damien,
yes sir,
it goes back. If the police, if the police has information that them 10 youths there, a fire gunshot at your granny ears, do the job. Go investigate. Go lock them up and charge them. Not just wait for a SOE to go detain them.
Because the commissioner said 300 odd people them look for a brother.
Yeah, true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So right. If you look here, if you have a list of persons who are committing crime, you don't need a SOE to solve that. You already know the persons. You do the policing and go and
let me finish with Akeem and make him go catch him flight. I'm not him late. I'm not paying no money for him. Yes, Akeem. So
I know Akeem left because the man so like him smart.
That's why he's my friend.
The man have sense.
He's a young PMP from Portland in Oshaka.
I don't want to know which side him depend.
Yeah, tell you.
This is me, DP. We want the crime to deal with it. And we can't wait till PNP win for deal with it. And that's why I give the GLP suggestions.
Hold on, Shaka for him.
Hold on, man. Hold on, I just Akeem need to go catch him flight. Final words, Akeem, before you.
But you never deal with crime before, so I know you gotta deal with it.
Hold on, make Akeem talk because more slap with Shaka for him right now.
Hold on, man. Go ahead, Akeem.
We have 63 representatives, and legislations can. And now, I'm going to put this down point blank. So whenever politicians ready to deal with crime in a meaningful way, they will go parliament and they will sit down and put forward things respecting the Constitution and all of that stuff where we can get things done. Maybe I have too much information about politicians and them ramblings for kind of still, go behind this. And that's what I'm saying. You have people that find billion dollar worth of drugs. Which poor man a push through $1 billion worth of drugs through the port?
You're not more about it.
And
That's
hear nobody.
Ian Fleming's finding.
I know 1 or 2 and 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see nobody a go. See nobody a get scraped up for Narbrook and all of them places. So
Well,
when you go
down
down,
that already. So all we know, every Jamaican know that.
So that's what I'm saying. When you go do a blanket script for some youths, as I say, I'm almost sure, I'm 95% sure, I'm not spend a night in jail. First I'm fight me wicked to get me stay in jail.
So you're saying what Nidus was saying earlier, do the spearfishing, not the net
you
fishing?
have to, I believe in spearfishing. If you have intelligence, lock up the man on the grounds and intelligence, whether suspicion or whatever, and put forward a case to try to hold him.
Mm-hmm. All right, Akeem, thank you. Tell your wife thanks for allowing you to come on for the show for our going to catch a flight. Nidus,
let me go to Stasha and Shaka Fame right now. Shaka Fame.
Yeah,
Me
man.
as a Jamaican and a lot of Jamaicans do not have faith in PNP fighting crime or aid in the authorities to fight crime. Let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
A certain member of parliament, a certain minister, had walk out of when he was Minister of Finance, walk out of Parliament to go sit at
You're breaking up and not hearing him DP.
I'm not sure why, because I am loud and clear. But he
I didn't hear you.
He said that the finance minister. Go ahead. You're hearing him now, Colin?
Go ahead now.
Let me repeat myself.
Yeah.
A certain member of Parliament, a certain minister, when they were Minister of Finance, and the budget was being read, walked out of Parliament to go sit at Willie Agat funeral in front seat. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the trends in which start the epidemic that we have in right now. It was supported or it is being supported by the persons who we vote in.
Were there members from the other party there as well?
I cannot recall. I recall
you need to recall that. Politicians from both sides was at the funeral.
So hold on it. Let me ask the question now. Because you say politicians from both sides was at the funnel, does that make it right?
No.
So,
no, but you're naming one side.
Let me ask the next question now. Let me ask this question now.
Hold on.
What
if they were
actions?
top members of the other party, you need to name both.
So let me ask the question now. What actions did your party take? What action? I'm going to be more specific with my question. The ethics committee in your party, what actions did they take, if any, against that said member of parliament?
Don't recall. But what action did the GLP take against theirs? I don't recall.
I cannot say that because.
All right, so Chris,
Colin,
the
mere fact that you are turning around and pointing what I said to wait, Colin, wait, no, you apologize, I mean, no one having a talking point, but hold on. The mere fact that you are taking what I said and deflecting to someone else, you are agreeing with criminals.
No. You made a statement that happened. And I'm saying to you.
What, is it right? Was it right?
No. But when I said to you, the fact that you're calling it out on the PNP side, you need to also call it out on the GLP side because
I did not know that.
Members of the hierarchy of the GLP
I only speak on what I know.
What about
let me ask this. Who was in power at the time, Colin? Because I think that make a difference.
The PNP.
But what about what Les Green said?
Hold on, Colin. That make a difference to you or no?
Let us not forget that when the extradition request came for Christopher Doddscoke, who was in power at the time, right? And who inherited the request.
That was the biggest
a particular party that was in power sat down on that request.
My friend,
and the Jamaica Labour Party inherited it. Just remember, let us not forget. Let us not forget who had to sign that extradition request.
But they didn't want to. That was the biggest defense of a criminal on the island of Jamaica. Remember, the GLP employ lawyers and lobbyists to defend Christopher do the same.
Colin, let's go back to
So
the question I asked you.
Evidence.
Hold on, no,
What,
Chris.
what
Evidence.
about
Went
what
against-
Les Green said
against the
about a
convention.
sitting member of parliament?
Hold on before we do, because you see, this is why I invite Nidos for company show. Nidos don't business with politics. Nidos is comfortably living in America. But he's a lover of Jamaica like myself. And what you just did a while ago, which me think Rob Nidos wrong Colin, is that he point out something him know and I ask you to answer it. The fact
Oh,
that
you mean me to answer?
the fact that
Him
PMP
ask me if it's right, I'm say no.
No. I ask you if it made a difference. Is Nidos ask you about the wrong and right? I am asking
If what make a difference?
if it since the PNP was in power and you had ministers from the PNP go sit down in a front row.
Yeah.
Did
It
make
was
any
not
sense
right.
to you,
It
or you
not
know,
good.
Oh, okay. And that's what and that is what Nidos is saying. And
but-
earlier, hold on, Colin.
but hold on.
Before you come on, let me repeat something Nidos said. Nidos said him not believe neither the JLP or the PNP serious about fighting crime.
But let me say this though. Let me say this. On the last PNP watch, crime was lower than under the GLP. The GLP from 2007 to 2011 had a higher crime rate than the PNP from 2011 to 2016.
So, let me ask a question.
Let me finish. And the GLP now from 2016 to 2000 and present have a higher crime rate than what the PNP had.
So, all right, let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question.
Yes.
So, based on your stats that you're giving, I don't know where you get the stats from, but based on the stats that you're giving, the PNP was more able to help aid the security forces in keeping the lead on crime, right?
You want me to answer that?
Just say yes or no. Just yes or no, because I want it's going to lead me to a question.
No, we were doing a better job with less resource than what the GLP has been doing.
Good. So, given that track record that you're doing a better job, right? Why is it that the PNP is not working with the GLP to get the same results?
That's an unfair statement.
No, don't answer that.
PNP
is
a question.
Colin, don't answer that yet.
Answer.
Hold on. Let's listen to this first before you answer.
15 months, I am convinced that the best efforts of the security forces by itself will not solve the crime problem.
This is voice of Senator Peter Bunting.
I didn't hear that.
Divine intervention.
Touching the heart of a wide cross-section of the society.
Mr. Bunting suggested help from the heavens is needed by way of the Almighty, touching the hearts of pastors, business persons, and politicians who would then take appropriate action.
And using as the instruments of the divine intervention, the ministers' fraternals, the academics, business community, those persons who work in the NGO community, those of us who are in political service, all to try and make an impact.
Until then, however, the minister told the gathering that based on the numbers, it could be perceived that the crime beast is winning. His voice broke during the declaration. He tried hard to control his emotions.
I'm not embarrassed to say that right now, as Minister of National Security, I'm going through a kind of a dark night of the soul, because we're trying very hard at the ministry. I see the men and women of the security forces trying very hard, working night and day, long hours. I see the leadership, capable, competent, professional, both of the police and the military. And so much effort is being made, and yet so little headway.
All right, so it goes on, and that's from CVM, by the way. Colin.
Play the Prime Minister over Portmore, a ball.
You see, and that is why Nidos is going to have a problem.
Must play the Prime Minister over Portmore, a ball.
That has nothing.
So that
has nothing to do with.
DP, I would like my question to be answered.
Colin, you said crime was better under the PMP.
But the numbers don't lie, bro.
Yeah, but I'm saying at the time.
Peter Bunting
Can my question be answered?
Huh?
Can my question be answered?
What was your question?
I asked, if PMP is a better manager of crime, because we can't solve crime. We can't solve, because
stop it.
We know that. We can't stop it. But PMP is a better manager of crime. Why doesn't the PMP work with the GLP for the betterment of Jamaica and its citizens?
All right. Let me tell you something. That question there not really make no sense, because here why. The PNP can't force itself on the government. The government was elected to govern. So it would be the government who would have to welcome the PNP to work with, to deal with crime.
Time out.
No.
Stick up in.
No, I'm not stick up in. Oh?
Don't you have debates in the house?
Yes.
And in debates, isn't it for and against?
Let me say something to you. Opposition leader Mark Golding, Sunday evening, laid out a whole legislation piece that the GLP can use instead of the states of emergency. He also said to them in the last debate that the Security Enhancement Act that you have been unable to bring to the parliament, give it to me. I will do it for you since you guys can't do it. So the PNP is ready to work with the government, but they can't force themselves on the government, my brother. Are the government in charge, you know? So it's the government have to say, all right, come forward and we will accept your assistance.
Chris, you agree with that argument?
Oh?
I'm asking Chris if I'm agreeing with that argument, because we're discussing, remember my topic.
If you agree, there's nothing to agree about that.
No, but Colin, my topic this evening is, do you agree with the ending of the SOE? And we're talking about the government constitutionally, okay, that is the point I was trying to make earlier, call the SOE. There's nothing that the government can call the SOE.
And they did.
They declared the SOE,
Colin,
we know, hold on, Chris, we know that I'm maybe this is faith I'm exercising. I am exercising faith that if they have extended the SOE until June 14, less murder would be committed in Jamaica. But the PMP use, let me finish my point, like how you bad up Nido, so I'll go finish your point. But the PMP use them blue force or whatever force them call and say, oh no, we not support to know we not no SOE if you make sure say some people like that.
No.
So is that working with the government to solve crime? That is what Nidos is asking.
And the answer to that, DP, 2018 is more than 6 times the PNP support the extension of the SOE.
2022 going into 2023.
2017, 2018, 2019, the PNP voted to support the extension of the SOE.
Undisturbed.
Did it reduce crime? Colin, did it reduce crime?
No, it did not.
Save lives.
No, it did not.
Wow. Colin, no,
it did not reduce.
What
are the numbers?
Colin,
look at the numbers. It reduced crime in the areas that it was. But outside of those areas, look at Jamaica crime numbers for the years.
You just said that you would support the SOE in certain areas for a particular time. And I'm saying to you that
but listen to the time.
When it was implemented in particular areas for a particular time, it reduced crime.
We saw that. Montego Bay is the first one. Montego Bay is the first one. The first SOE that was declared 2017 it was, or 2018 was in Montego Bay. And you do the comparison right now, you can bring it up on your phone, all over the internet. We saw the same period the year before. Shooting and murder was down, Colin.
No,
I am not getting
Colin, DP.
Go to the research.
From the PMP. What I'm not getting from the PMP,
guys,
I don't see them defending innocent people's lives.
Let me say something to you.
Hold on,
Nidos and then Colin. Nidos.
I would love to stay with you guys, but my battery is down to 10% and I'm on the road.
All right, boss. Later, take care.
Love the show.
We're wrapping up again. We're wrapping up in 4 minutes anyway, because I want to supposed to.
DP,
Colin. Yes, Colin.
Let me say something to you. 2018 crime rate in Jamaica was what? 1,400 and change. 2019 it was the same. It has never gone down from the GLP in 2016.
In the areas that the SOE and the
Yes,
SOEs were implemented, it brought down the crime.
in
It is
those
simply
areas, but
saying
the
that
national level.
statistic. No. That statistic is saying that it worked in the areas that it was implemented. That's
But
what
my
it's saying.
brethren,
I
it's
think it
like
would
a
be worse.
balloon. It's
But
like
I
a
think it
balloon. You
would be
squeeze
worse.
one in and it bulges out of one next end. So
So,
if you don't have the
Colin,
national figures
even
going
that
down,
analogy, but Colin, even
crime
that
is a national
analogy,
issue, you know. It's
even
not a
that analogy where
Montgomery
you
issue
use, even
or
that
a
analogy
Kingston
where you use
issue.
about
Crime
squeeze,
is a localized issue.
It's a
a
national
household
issue.
It's a household issue. It's a
Colin,
household issue.
Yeah,
Colin, the
yeah.
part that you mentioned about the balloon and the effect and all of these things.
Mm.
So I think it's a catch, what they call it, catch 22. Because I was fearful the first time when the SOE was declared in Montego Bay. And you know, a Montego Bay I'm flying to. And based on what I was seeing, I never feel comfortable. But the government have the control. And this is why I think maybe they call it in 7 parishes other than 1 and 2. Because I think it was just St. James and
DP,
Westmoreland.
let me
They
explain to you
called it
again.
the 7 parishes based
My
on the
brethren,
statistic, based on the trend as to where the criminals will migrate to, will most likely
Right.
let me
migrate
explain something to you
right?
again.
So you are
Because
saying about the balloon effect. Hold on. You're right. You know, there's a balloon effect where they will squeeze them from one area and they go into the other area. Hence why they have to call it in 7 parishes,
let me say
because
something to you.
it's assumed that they will migrate to those 7 parishes.
But the
That's
police
what you
force and
just
the
said.
army don't have the capacity to do that. So listen what me I said to you, my brother.
Mm.
You see, the Prime Minister who is the Minister of Defense, the Security Minister, and the Commissioner of Police are 3 blind mice. I'm going to tell you what they need to do, my friend. Get the intelligence. Call states of emergency in small areas. You see, like when over Portmore, over I wish part ended up the buckle bomb them over Edgewater, some over there, so Gregory Park side. Yeah. Where them a buckle bomb house, you call a state of emergency in that area. They lock it down tight like a sardine tin. Search church, search school, search toilet, search old man house, search playfield, search everywhere. Get the guns, get the criminals, get out. 7 days, 14 days. Then you have information, say them that Spanish Town, you go so boom, and you lock down Spanish Town. 7 days, 14 days, you get in there, do the action, get out. You hear say them that Montego Bay, you go so boom, and you lock it down. So criminals now start know that anywhere shot fire, we are gonna lock it down. Anywhere you shoot a policeman, we are gonna lock it down. Anywhere you kill picnic, we are gonna lock it down.
Colin, you're a politician.
You're not a politician, brother. Sorry. You are a politician.
Hold on, no. You're running for a seat. So am I.
I'm a nation builder. I'm using politics as a tool.
Hold on, man. What I'm going to say to you
1 minute ago,
that you and I are aware, right, as to how wide the criminal network is in Jamaica. It's not a quick fix, and it's not as we would theorize to be.
It's a quick fix.
Where we can go into one little area and click the wings and go into another area. The criminal network of across Jamaica.
And that's why you go. And that's why, my brother, you go for them wherever they are. And that's why I believe also, DP, in stop and frisk. Yeah? We need to control the streets. The government of Jamaica need to take over the streets. So anytime a guy walk with a gun, you have to hold him with it and put him away. You see the law is there. The law is there. You see the law when them pass? I agree with that law. A long time I beg for it. A long time I beg for the amnesty. So the government is doing some of the things that when me as a long time, and DP can tell you because he has been listening to me. Me I tell them long time that 15 years minimum for gun charge when you get caught with a gun. Call a gun amnesty and say carrying all of them gun they won't want because we are come for them. So you must use the state of emergency now and go for those guns. You must be surgical. You know, to call now so in another 7 parish, the police force cannot angle that. You don't have the manpower to do that.
So Colin, you're supporting the SOE in a smaller way, right?
Yeah.
In a more
and you don't need the opposition.
In a
you
more
don't need the opposition.
Way.
Eh?
You're supporting the SOE in a more defined way.
Yeah, spear fishing way.
Yeah, man. Chris, I can tell you, me and Colin go far back, and every time when he come up, he always say, he's one of the PMP when if me hear him said the SOE enough for use, I would be lying. Him always say, but his recommendation, and let me tell you again.
Remember that, Damien, when I with the first thing I said for the SOE, in terms of the SOE, I support the SOE, but I also believe in coupling it,
yes,
right, with the social programs.
So Colin is coming from a point where he's actually a trained JDF member too. So him know him must say with his security part of it. I may agree with him. But this is why I kind of give Andrew a pass this time, because like you rightfully said, ago, Chris, I believe the same idea that Colin said, the balloon effect, and you say the SOE were imposed in place is likely that the criminal, because them have the information. So when them lock down Westmoreland and lock down Montego Bay, them go Clarendon. Or them go whichever part of Kingston or whatever.
Here's my problem with the 7 parishes. When you lock down the 7 parishes, you can't search them. You don't have the capacity to search them.
But you don't need to search. You don't need to search everywhere, because you know the areas where
brother,
it's likely.
That's what you need to do. You see, when you call a SOE, you see all the citizens them in the area. They must upset.
I can understand where Colin is coming from, you know. He wants a more stricter approach.
This man, when you call a SOE,
the regular cordon off area, but more them to go in and dig up and search. I understand where you're coming from, Colin.
You see, when you call a SOEDP in an area, the people of the area must say, me no want that in here so again. So you see, the next time them see a gunman, a man hide and go call police because he don't want that.
But Colin, you know, say that you have certain area, it won't be like that. I heard the prime minister said this, and a lot of times people say lie, tell him make up him story. But I heard him make mention and him say based on what I go and him can't say too much. But I heard him on radio saying,
let me tell you where me lose off.
Colin, you know, say if that happen, right? A couple youth well.
Something gone wrong with the audio on my side. It kind of sound double.
A couple youth well. You're gonna have Jamaicans for Justice coming out and protesting that people are get abused, and if they do it in the way that you want, you know, that you're recommending, right? There's gonna be a lot of abuse, right? We do not say can't do, you know, but there's gonna be some level of I don't know, training with
DP.
the security forces.
Yes, let me tell you, Chris,
in terms of how they want to deal with the people.
Chris, you're a loser for the Prime Minister, and this sends a serious signal to me. When the Prime Minister go to the Parliament and the Prime Minister said youngsters over Clifton selling land. Now, what the Prime Minister needed to have done with that information, Chris, was send somebody undercover to buy land. And when you send somebody undercover, you catch the criminal red-handed. No, I'm saying it's something simple as that. You can't use that intelligence. That makes me wonder if the Prime Minister them really have no intelligence.
But Colin, you repeat it again. But remember, several people were arrested, so you can't say them never did use.
How much? Where?
It no matter. But a one name me did here. A one man name here did at some Clifton.
But a one somebody get arrested. The school principal, nobody else get arrested, brother.
I think it's 3. I heard her name and 2.
Chris, you know about anybody else who get arrested?
I have a problem with that in a Colin. I only know I know the teacher.
That's all me hear about.
But watch me, Colin. I have a problem with that as local government representative, right? And you have the central government, the MP over there. Are you telling me that they were aware of this and couldn't do anything at their level?
But remember, the MP said he reported it to SCG, you know, brother. Remember, the MP said he went to SCG and said people are building on that part.
He admitted that he is the one that told Andrew Olness to.
Yeah,
he said it. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. It's supposed to be 1 hour, so I'm going to let both of you, and I don't know if no people I'm watch, so if no one do no throw to make people vote. I know the pan Caribbean with the HDC camera. Go ahead, Chris, you first.
Well, I want to say, DP, thank you for inviting me to the program. Big up yourself. Colin is a beautiful, necessary discussion. I do support the SOE. I love to see social programs incorporated with the SOE. And as Colin suggested earlier, go in and find the guns. We know who they are. Go in and go for the people them, and don't antagonize innocent people.
All right, Colin.
Yeah, man. Bless up and thanks for the opportunity, DP. For me, crime is one of the most serious problems that we're having in Jamaica right now. And as I always say, even though I'm a PNP, me can't wait till PNP come in power to deal with this crime situation. And therefore, I would love again to make the suggestion to the government. Implement stop and frisk in this country. There is a notion that if you walk on the road with a gun, there is a 0.5% chance out of 10 that you will be searched. We need to turn that narrative around and make it to be a 9.9 99% chance that if you walk on the road with a gun, you are going to get searched. The police need to take care of the streets, take over about the streets, and put back criminals at bush, make criminals start run away. And then we'll have less gun crime. You cannot stop murders, but we can bring it down to a more acceptable level than what we have in Jamaica. We are too small an island to be killing so much people. And I believe that the government has failed miserably over the last 7 years. They promised us that they would deal with crime. That is what they came into power on. And DP, I know you don't like when I say this, but Andrew Holness said that we are going to sleep with our doors and our windows open. And I think it's time he need to come and apologize to the country that he has failed on this crime plan and embrace the opposition that they can work together. Bless you.
I hear you, sir.
And DP,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
if Colin and I have a platform, I'm gonna say on behalf for myself and Colin, I talk to the youths and put on the gun.
Yes,
right? Put on the gun. You know, PMP, JLP, we have said put on the gun.
And you see,
because remember now, you know, Chris, remember most Jamaicans not associated with PNP and GLP, you know, brother.
True that too. So this is what me I say. And me actually
vote, you know. So 63% of Jamaicans of business we do, you know, brother. So we have to one them when associated with politics.
And again, I want to say thanks because normally when you have two people, you know, whenever the course we disagree and we still talk with points and all of that. Yeah. I think though, this is my wish for PMP and JLP because you have some people don't like to hear about politics. But I wish the energy when me hear PMP fight JLP, vice versa, would turn that panic criminal them. That is my wish. I just
want to disagree with that though, DP. We're not fighting JLP and crime. We are saying that fight crime, but do it in the right way.
There's not a right way
the order of the Constitution.
Colin, there's not a right way for fight crime because look on even when them it send for when name, what the brother name, Barack Obama, for Bin Laden or whatever. You think saying have people upset about the way them do it? There's not a right way.
But you realize how surgical that was.
That's one different case.
All right.
Anyways, thank you, Saka. Thank you, Boston Link Up. Thank you, Chris. And this is what I always say. It's not Shaka first time. Chris, anytime somebody accept me invite, me must find something else to invite you again. So look out for the invitation. All right.
Respect.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the night, gentlemen.
Bless up.
All right, cool.
All right.